The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selina MacKenzie.
And it's Culinary Corner time now. We're going to be chatting about Indian 101, real Indian recipes made simple. Welcome to the show, author Karan Gokani.
Hi, Selina. Thank you so much for having me here.
You're very welcome. I love Indian food, but to cook it, I can't imagine is simple.
Well, you've got to get the book. I think you've got a copy and your listeners need to get a copy. Look, Indian food has this bad reputation of being, not a bad reputation, but a sort of scary reputation of being only restaurant level food that's taken hours to make. You need 200 ingredients, lots of skill, and to make it an Indian meal, you need to have 10 dishes on the table. This book, I've got restaurants in London, so I've got Sri Lankan and South Indian restaurants in London. I've been in the restaurant world for the last 15 years, but this is the kind of food I cook at home. I grew up in India. As a student, I cooked very simple food. I mean, tasty food, but simple food. Even today, I've got two young children, a 4-year-old boy and a 7-year-old boy, and the house is crazy. So sometimes all my wife and I have is one dish with some rice, a chicken curry with a slice of bread or a roti if you've got some in the fridge. So Indian food is not complicated. And this book is my sort of way of trying to challenge those four prototypes, those sort of preconceptions that Indian food needs to be this complicated. It needs to be North Indian. So actually, India is a large country. And I'd go as far as saying the food across India is probably more varied than across all of Europe.
Yes.
And you can't just say European food the same way you can't say Indian food. So food from the South is vastly different from the West, from the East and the North. And I've tried to give you a taste of that without making it a geography lesson in Indian 101. Indian 101, as the name suggests, is obviously 101 recipes, but it's also a sort of way to give you enough confidence to cook Indian food, whether you've done it before or not. So if I was with a group of aunts and uncles at a party, Diwali party last night, and all of them, very surprisingly, these aunts who've been cooking for many more years than I have came to me and said, "We're so excited about this book. We've seen recipes we've never heard of before." So
Wow.
There's something there for Indians who tend to cook one region, but there's also lots in there. And I'm going to talk to you about my salmon tikka recipe. It's something I love and so simple that wherever in Europe, America, the rest of the world you are, I think you can easily get certain ingredients with a click of a button online. And I promise you can stock up your cupboard of Indian ingredients to cook everything you need from this book in less than the price of one takeaway meal for an entire year.
That's very good.
It doesn't cost that much.
I think the difference is as well, I mean, I'm fortunate that I've been to India and I love it there. But the food that I had in India was very different to the Indian takeaways we have here.
Exactly. It's the geographical, it's the variance we have. So when people think of a dal, sometimes they think of that black, rich, delicious dal that has loads of butter. It was cooked for about 3 nights, soaked for a night. And yes, it's delicious in a restaurant. But at home, if you ask me on a weeknight what I want to eat, it's a simple yellow dal. So we use yellow lentils or moong lentils, which are very easily available. A little bit of cumin, tomato, ginger, garlic, turmeric, and that's it. It's a very simple dal with rice. It doesn't need to be complicated. And that's exactly what, when you cook it, eat at homes in India, you'd eat a kidney bean stew, you'd eat a chickpea stew, very simple. You can make it, you can batch make it. That's what I do at home.
Yeah, great idea.
Your freezer, leave it in your freezer and you have little boxes. Then if it's 2 of you or 1 of you eating at home, pull it out, defrost it, warm it up in a pan or in your microwave. And all you need is that little bowl of steamed rice on the side.
And why do you have restaurants, Indian restaurants and Sri Lankan ones? Did you spend time in Sri Lanka?
I actually trained as a lawyer. So I moved over to England. I studied law at Cambridge and I worked in the city for a little while. That's where my best friends were actually Sri Lankan. And until I moved here, ironically, I'd never been to Sri Lanka back, growing up in India. It was only a cricketing nation that we often beat. But suddenly I fell in love with this country, with its people. I traveled there a lot, learned a lot about the food, happened to propose to my wife there because it's just such a beautiful country and it's so special to me. And today I've got 3 restaurants in London that are doing very well, fortunately, called Hoppers. And we serve Sri Lankan as well as South Indian food. But obviously this book is well beyond it. My first book was a Sri Lankan cookbook about the Hoppers story and the Hoppers journey and the recipes. But this is my home Indian food from north, south, east, west, and central India.
And even though you went onto the legal side, did you always know from a young boy that you wanted to be in restaurants or in the food industry?
Yeah, I've got to say, I look at my kids now. I think I was younger than them. It's about 3 or 4. I'd sneak into our kitchen. With my mom, I'd roll chapatis on the counter. I'd always be tasting food. I'd be very excited about, the whole process of creation. In fact, I'm one of those people. I often ask my chef friends this question: are you someone who would rather eat a dish or cook a dish? I would rather cook a dish. I think there's something magical about bringing raw ingredients, putting a little bit of yourself into them, transforming them into something completely different, and then often sort of feeding that to someone else. I'm a feeder. I'm a total feeder. I love feeding people. I love inspiring people to cook. So I've got my Instagram account, Karan Cooks, where I've shared a lot of these kind of recipes. I've tested Indian 101 for 2 years. We've had, my lemon rice recipe has had about 10 million views. It was a recipe I never thought anyone would cook. But I suddenly taught me so much about what people are actually cooking at home and actually enjoying watching nowadays. And, it was an eye-opener. So that was a great way to test the recipes that are now finally in this cookbook.
And are there any Indian desserts in the book?
Lots of Indian desserts. You can't have Indian food without dessert.
Excellent.
In fact,
they're very sweet, aren't they?
I do agree with you. So I personally shy away from Indian desserts after a heavy meal because I find them quite sweet. So I've actually gone with lighter versions. I've got a bread pudding, which is inspired by, a Western bread pudding. Something is a dessert I really love. My mom-in-law makes the best bread pudding. And this is an Indian one with a little bit of saffron, with a little bit of cardamom in there. So it's quite simple. It's something that, again, people are used to making. They don't find completely out of their comfort zone. But then you want to try something very traditional, go on and have your, I make a gajar halwa, carrot halwa, which again is not very daunting. You grate some carrots, you reduce some milk, and it's really, really tasty. Or you make mango magnums, little ice cream sticks dipped in white chocolate, which I've become very popular for at my son's school. So also such an easy 3 ingredients plus chocolate. 3 ingredients. That's it.
Good way of getting your fruit as well.
In fact, you can ditch the sugar. Just get a little bit of honey if you really need. Otherwise, mango and cream. Whip it together. Buy a little ice cream mold, put it in the freezer. It will be the tastiest ice cream you've eaten.
I bet your kids are very popular.
Well, for the ice cream ones, I am popular in their school, but I think not for much more. It's, the 7-year-old, 4-year-old, they've got the attitude.
Absolutely.
You've got to work hard. You've got to work hard to be popular.
Do you think they'll follow suit? Do you think they'll go into the same industry?
Well, look, there's no compulsion. I came up from a family of doctors. My parents were very open to me doing whatever I wanted to do. I think the legal career was something very solid to have. It kept me grounded. It gave me a base. And then when the time was there to pursue this, I went on and did it, and with all the support of my family. And I think my kids will have the same. I love them cooking. I think it's very important to understand where food comes from, to respect food, to love it, to feed people, have hospitality in your blood, which is something my wife and I have. Which is something I'd love to inculcate, but whether they make a career of it or not is completely up to them.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yes.
So salmon tikka, that sounds very nice.
Yes.
Over to you. Tell us how to make it.
So, this is one of those recipes that the first thing people think of when they go to an Indian restaurant is obviously, apart from the chicken tikka masala, butter chicken, chicken makhani, whatever you may call it, is the sort of grilled dishes that are made in a tandoor or tandoori chicken. Now, tandoor is effectively a clay oven that you have only in restaurants in North India. Today, it's found across a lot of restaurants, but it's a North Indian invention. You have coal at the bottom, and you have this beautiful, very hot clay oven that goes up to 500, 600 Celsius, a bit like a good pizza oven. And then you put your meat either on the bone or off the bone onto skewers and hang it inside, and it cooks in this ambient heat. You can slap the breads on the side of it to make rotis. Now, a tikka is simply a version of a dish cooked in a tandoor that is usually boneless. And you can have chicken tikka, lamb tikka, or fish tikka. Now, because we don't have a tandoor, you can't really call it tandoori. It's a bit of it's like frying something and calling it baked. So most of us don't have a tandoor in the house. So we make this in the oven or the air fryer, and very easy to do. The idea is you want to go on as high a heat as possible. So if you have a pizza oven that's higher heat, go for it. Now, Salmon is not a fish that's found in India often, but I think it works beautifully in this marinade. And I think, salmon is one of the few fishes that in England, I live in London, and I'm speaking to you from London, is very easily available in decent quality at supermarkets. Where some of the other white fish, sadly, England's not eating as much fish. But the beauty of this recipe I'm going to talk you through is that you can use it for broccoli, cauliflower, chicken, even lamb or prawns. So it's really versatile. I want you to think of the marinade first. So ginger, garlic, a little bit of fenugreek leaves. It's called kasuri methi or dried fenugreek, and it's very easy for a couple of pounds, 3-4 euros to buy online. Once you buy that packet, you can sprinkle it into your baked beans. You can sprinkle it into your pasta gravies. It's delicious. It's a really nice spice. And there's lots of recipes in my book that use it. A little bit of ground turmeric, fennel seeds, just toasted and crushed if you like. And then garam masala, which is our all-purpose spice. There's a full recipe for it. But again, another spice that you will use all the time is buy that. Small packet shouldn't cost you more than a couple of euros. Black pepper, now Greek yogurt, and then my magic ingredient is cream cheese.
Wow.
So if you don't have cream cheese, grate some Parmesan or grate some cheddar into it. But what that cheese does is effectively this is a yogurt and spice marinade. But the secret ingredient is the cream cheese because that helps that marinade stick to the protein. And I promise you, once you do that, and the way the cheese melts, you'll get that lovely char and the flavor. So get that all mixed together, a little bit of ghee, butter, or even oil, just melted butter, oil, and then salt to taste. A few cardamom pods that are crushed. This is the seeds that are crushed because cardamom is lovely. The green cardamom is such a nice flavor. Now that's your base marinade. That's done. I promise you, once you assemble those ingredients, it'll take you 4 minutes to make. Working slowly. You get that yogurt, that spiced yogurt cheese mixture on the side. Then you get your fish. And literally sometimes if you want, I put a little bit of lime juice and salt on the fish, but otherwise just plain fish into that. Make this the night before, make this in the morning, go off to work, leave it in your fridge. When you come back, get your oven as hot as you can and stick this on the top shelf or get an air fryer as hot as you can on the top shelf. You want it to get nice and charred. And honestly, the fish, the beauty of cooking fish is it doesn't need to cook through fully. So even if it's pink in the middle, it'll be gorgeous. In a tray, in there, a little bit of dill on top. Now, all, again, like I said, you can have this with a lovely salad on the side. You can make a dal and a few other dishes. You can make it as part of a feast. So I'm actually suggesting this is a great Christmas feast. And it's an alternative Christmas, especially in Europe. You have fish for Christmas. It's a lovely Boxing Day treat. But also Diwali, if you want to celebrate Diwali in your homes, which is our Christmas in India, it's on the 20th of October, but it's a whole month-long celebration. As is everything in India, including weddings. This is a great place to start. A great dish to go with this is also my lemon rice.
Yes.
Which is another very simple dish.
Sounds lovely. It sounds delicious. And this is one of the 101 recipes, I assume, in the book. That is, yes. Well, for our listeners, we're selling it right now on our website, TRE.radio. It's called Indian 101, Real Indian Recipes Made Simple, and it's by Karan Gokani, who we're chatting to now. Karan, do you also have your own website if people want to find out more? I've got my website, but Instagram's the best way. I manage my account myself. Loads of recipe inspiration on there. I'd say about 20-30% of the recipes in the book I've done there, but obviously much more detail in the book. But if you're cooking this, I'd love to see what you're doing. You should not have a problem on the way, but you can always message me if you have questions about it. I love it because the point of doing this, writing a book, sharing stuff online, is so that you get people to cook. It's not just to blow your ego up. And I love connecting with people. I'll be very excited to connect with people across Europe and Spain. So Karan Cooks is my handle. Karan Cooks. Karan Cooks at Instagram and TikTok. Come and see me at Hoppers if you're ever in London. Definitely. And happy Diwali to you. To you too. I hope you cook some from here. I will. Take care, Karan. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Lots of love from London. Bye. Bye-bye.